Okay, so this is part two of writing analytical paragraphs for Macbeth. I don't know whether I'm just going to edit this onto the part one of the video or just do two videos. I don't know. Probably try and edit it onto. No, that's going to create loads of long videos, isn't it? Right, as I said, I'm making this up as I go along. That's if I sound like an amateur, that's because I am. Okay, so again, this is writing analytical paragraphs for Macbeth. So we have had a look at what the perfect PEAL or PEAL paragraph should do, and now we're going to put that into practice. We did some kind of a warm-up task with this, but now we're going to get serious and do something answering this question. So write this question down. How does Shakespeare present the relationship between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth? Okay, write that down, and also have a pause at this point and start thinking about quotations from the play that you would use if this was an essay question that you had been given. If it was an assessment question you'd been given, what quotations would you think about? Now, in your assessment in the AQA GCSE exam, literature paper 1, you will get an extract from the play and a question based on that extract, but you need to remember your quotations from the rest of the play as well, because you don't just answer on the extract that you've been given, you answer on the whole play. So pause while you think about getting down a few quotations. Remember, you should be aiming for about 3 to 4 decent PEAL paragraphs, and each paragraph should write about the extract, so should have a quotation from the extract and a quotation from the rest of the play as well. So if we can think about 4 quotations for this question, go. Okay, we're back in the room. Right, you should have your quotations now, answering that question. So, my quotation that I'm going to look at in this video is the above. I wonder how many of you have got this quotation. You can put something in the comments if you want. Incidentally, 10A3, I do want you commenting on the video just so that I know that you have seen it, please, and I know that you are doing the work. Or you can send me a message via Schoology or whatever. I'm not bothered about likes or anything like or subscriptions. I just want to make sure that you are accessing the work and you're doing what I'm expecting you to do whilst you're at home, being responsible, I hope, social distancing or isolating. Right, we've got this quotation. Now I'm going to do a little bit of analysis of it. So we could think about the use of the pronoun my. This indicates possession, that Lady Macbeth belongs to Macbeth. You might already be thinking about some AO3, some context that is associated with that particular comment that I've just made. The word dearest, that is a superlative. Okay, dearest, in other words, there is no one more dear to Macbeth than his wife, and this shows the strength of his emotion that he feels for her. Then we go on to the word partner. We get a sense of equality between the two, and here's where I'm bringing my AO3. This would have been unusual in the patriarchal societies of the 11th and 17th centuries. Now, why are we thinking about the 11th and 17th centuries when we look at context? Well, we're thinking about when the play was set, the 11th century, and when the play was written and first performed, the 17th century. So it was performed around about 1608, so that is the 17th century, and the real Macbeth reigned at around about 1050. Okay, so that's not 10 to 11, 1050 the year AD, and that's the 11th century. Then we're looking at the word greatness, and evokes a sense of Lady Macbeth's power, not just in her in the marriage, and not just her power over Macbeth, but also in the play. Now, 10A3, we have talked about power a lot, and we've talked about different types of power we can that we can look at. You know, there's political power, physical power, manipulative power, rhetorical power, but there's also the dramatic power of Lady Macbeth as a character. Now I'm bringing in some structure. I'm looking at the in terms of the play. It's from the first act, Act 1, Scene 5, and so it establishes early on the dynamic of the relationship. If you remember, it's spoken by Lady Macbeth, but it's kind of part of Lady Macbeth's speech, but she is reading a letter written by Macbeth. Now, I haven't got this on here, but if I'm talking about the letter and it being spoken by a different character, think about what I would be going on to analyze, and that's going to be something that I'm going to come back to later. Remember AO2, language, form, and structure. All of these bullet points, what are they? What are they mainly looking at? But if we were to talk about Lady Macbeth speaking the words aloud, reading the letter that has been written by Macbeth, we might be talking about something else there other than just one particular part of AO2 analysis. Okay, so here's my paragraph that I've got from that analysis. When we first see Lady Macbeth, she is reading a letter from Macbeth in which he calls her his dearest partner of greatness. The use of the word dearest shows how much affection Macbeth has for his wife and would suggest that they have a very strong relationship. By calling her partner indicates that he considers her an equal, which is unusual considering the patriarchal society in which they live. Greatness highlights that Lady Macbeth is a strong woman and could possibly foreshadow her dominant role in the relationship. Right, there's my point. There's my evidence. There's more there actually. Dearest and partner as well should come up in green. There's my analysis, and there's my development, okay, or my link back to the question, because I'm talking about the relationship. Look at that analytical vocabulary that I talked about in my first video. Shows, suggests, indicates, highlights, and foreshadows. So again, though, that's a fairly basic paragraph. It's not high end, but it's taking a quotation, it's analysing, it's looking at different layers of the quotation ish. In that it's looking at the full quotation. But in terms of AO2, do you think that is looking at language, form, and structure? It's looking at a bit of AO3, analysis, context, but if you think about it, most of that is just really looking at language. There's a little bit of structure in there because we talk about when we first see Lady Macbeth, so we're talking about her at the start of the play. Now, this is what I've said to you. You should be using 2 quotations per paragraph, one from the extract, one from the rest of the play, and the one from the rest of the play, the rest of the text, can either complement what you're saying or it can contrast with what you're saying. It can either say how there's something similar in the rest of the play, or there's something slightly different. Now, if you're using 2 quotations, if you can only really look at language in one of them, then choose something where you can look at structure, where you can look at form, where you can talk about iambic pentameter, where you can talk about the use of prose, where you can talk about a dramatic entrance, or how this fits in with the tragedy, and there you're all talking about form if you're looking at those things. Okay, so now it's over to you guys. We're looking at the same question. I've started you off. Lady Macbeth appears to be critical of Macbeth when she says that he is too full of the milk of human kindness. I've given you your quotation, one quotation. I want you to complete this paragraph. I'd like you to submit it to me on Schoology, and I'll have a look at it. I'm going to be posting this video on Schoology today, so that is Friday the 27th of March. So I want to get these back and I'll put all of the details on Schoology. And I want you to be thinking about this: what is above the surface? What is the literal, the explicit? What's the denotation? You can think about all of these terms, using the language there, the vocabulary on the right, shows, indicates, conveys, etc. When we're talking about what is beneath the surface, the implicit meaning, the figurative meaning, looking at the full connotations of the text. Right then, guys, I hope that all made sense. So yeah, I'll put these up as 2 different videos. Make some comments or reply to me in Schoology so that I know that you've looked at these. I want to see these PEAL paragraphs submitted to me, and I am going to be posting more lessons, more video lessons next week, just before the assessment. So look out for those. Cheers, guys.